You can change your life starting now. It's never too late. You're never too stuck. You can do it starting now. And in this video, which we're doing live with a bird, yes, if you're not looking, you might want to look at the screen right now. In this video, I'm going to share 2 powerful shifts that can change your situation, transform it entirely, no matter how complicated, stuck, or late it may seem. And if you don't believe me, then just ask this little girl. We've only known each other for 5 days, and she's on YouTube now. So stick around. We're going to get into it. Hey, welcome. Welcome to this video. I'm Tricia. I help people to live their ascended life and step into their spiritual leadership. And this is Aliel. She is a tiny bird. She's only 5.5 weeks old, and we only met 5.5 days ago. So this is just proof, because she has just tamed in the last few days to actually want to hang out with me this much. And that's how you can change your life. And there's a lot more to just this relationship that it's just cute and everything. Actually having her with me right now is a manifestation of a major transformation in my life. So like I said, I'm going to tell you about some major shifts, ways that you can change in your life starting now. And it's never too late, and it's never too complicated. You're never too stuck. And that's something that we tend to get ourselves in. So I want to start with saying, hello. I'm doing this one live. I'm also going to be talking about the eclipse that's happening within the next 24 hours as we're actually doing this live video. So if you're in the live feed, I want you to tell me where you're calling from, not calling, I guess, where you're watching from, right? And just say hello, and I'll chat with y'all in just a bit. And then, of course, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching this video in another time space, you're time traveling to us, so you go ahead and say hello too. And any questions you have, anything you want to share, this is a safe space to do that. And by the way, what I mean by that is that anybody who is bullying or rude or mean or insensitive, I actually don't let those stay on my feed, not because I care about what people say about me, but because I don't want you to come here and feel like you have to argue with someone, or if you look at the comments, you're going to feel like crap and it's going to lower your vibe. So just so you know, safe place, and I'm here for you. So let's talk about shifting your life. So I want to tell you that I woke up in 2023, in September. It was actually September 27th, 2023, with a Claireaudient message happening in my ears saying, if you don't have a growth mindset, you will hit a downward spiral. Now, that was a very kind way to say it, that Spirit told me that, because what was really happening was I was having a downward spiral. Now, to pick up where the last 3 videos left off, because I'm doing like kind of a series of 5 videos telling my story about some core wounds, about some things that happened in my life, a relationship where I did a part of the relationship that we call codependence, and another person did a part of the relationship called narcissistic strategies. And just to contextualize that, I'm not calling victimhood here, because I did my codependent part. And that's how we actually can come out of it, is to find the part where we have been empowered. You got to stretch, little girl? Her name's Aliel. I don't know if I said that. Aliel. So I wanted to just make sure that that is clear. So where I left off with the last video is a part of how I got to 2023 and that message, and also how I got to where I am right now. So I actually did split from that person, and it took me it took me about a year, well, maybe it was a year and a quarter, to get to the part where I'm having this message from Spirit waking me up on August 27th, 2023, saying, if you don't have a growth mindset, you'll hit a downward spiral. And the true revelation of that was, you're hitting a downward spiral because your mindset is not growth oriented. And why that had happened was because I was still healing from this past relationship. I was actually still dismantling the, I would say, the emotional structures, not only of that particular situation, but other things that were attached to it, from childhood and whatnot. So in my healing process, I was dismantling, but I wasn't totally living in a fresh new paradigm. So what I had to happen in 2023 was I had to start to figure out how to basically kill my old ways of doing things. Now, this was a business relationship, and so I had an old business. Now, part of the old business that was going on during that other time was my own. So I did have a semblance of what is mine, what I've built independently, and that was fine. But I still had, even though I was out of the former paradigm, it was still showing up as an energy pattern in my business. And what happens with me is that I project all of my wounds onto my business, because my marriage and my personal life in other ways, it's all peachy. And like I just said, I have projected it because I'm moving forward. That is one of the main secrets, is to believe, to begin to form the beliefs, to create the spiritual technology of belief that you don't have to always have some part of your life that is crap, or some part of your life that will be unevolved or underdeveloped or painful. So that's why I'm correcting my speech that I say I project as if it's ongoing. This is a habit that I have dismantled. So from September 27, 2023, I started to get more significantly on my growth mindset, thinking every day how to be on a growth mindset. I was incorporating new teachers, for example, Vishen Lakhiani of Mind Valley, and I went into a deep trance, went all the way up to the galactic soul level. You want to get up there? She wants to step up. Yeah. She said, I want to be on the galactic soul level. I went up to the galactic soul level, and galactic soul to galactic soul tapped into this archetype of Vishen Lakhiani, not actually into his energy field here on the 3D plane, not like that at all. And even so, on the galactic level, I'm being very respectful, keeping my energy positive, and only making appeals for what is in the highest benefit for all. But as I reached out to this Vishen Lakhiani archetype, I asked, what do you think? What can I do? And I heard the message from Vishen. He said, pretend like you're trying to meet me. So that was really interesting. And so I joined Mind Valley, and I started to take some different lessons there. And I started to recognize that I have all of these, many of these tools. I just have forgotten to use some of them because of my reaction and response to, the pain that I was still healing, and the patterns of my old way of being with this old relationship, and also the things that were, again, attached to it from childhood and all of that. So what was great was, even though I had these tools, I needed a fresh immersion in them. And so that's what helped me with this, by being in Mind Valley and just paying attention to some of what Vishen Lakhiani does as, basically like a role model. Now, from there, I also started to do a whole different thing in my business, and I created this program called Astral Mastery, where I taught people how to do similar to what I just described, go up to the galactic soul level and impact major transformation at these very high expanded dimensional levels of yourself, of your being, but beyond, not the personal self, beyond soul level and above, where that blueprint is, and even, beyond that. And also to do things like self-initiated astral projection. And so in that, I basically expanded and upgraded my own practice in self-initiated astral projections. I started having astral projections where I left my body, walked out onto the street in my neighborhood and met a Pleiadian, or where I went into the inner earth planes and the inner dimensions and met a Sasquatch. And these things are significant for me because these are like my soul attuning frequencies. So, some people like to go to the pyramids in Egypt if they astral project. These are the things I like to do. And I also have, video on my channel where I talked about, I actually got a surgery in an astral projection, in an out-of-body experience. I got a surgery on my hands by ETs. And it was so visceral, so real. Meanwhile, I also had some loss. I lost a bird, not someone who predates her. Well, she's only been around for 5 weeks anyway. And I also lost a beloved kitty. And this actually was only, 5 months ago? It feels like yesterday in a lot of ways. I lost my Barnabas, my cat Barnabas, and I lost a bird named Yael. And major heartache, major heartbreak. I also got sick. And so that was something that had happened. So from September 27th, 2023 to basically October of 24, I'd been offering this amazing program. I have been doing, I have been on my growth mindset, but still it feels a bit rocky But what I learned is, it's not that I learned it because we know this. It is all about your believing that it can shift. So this is the major thing. If there is something significant that you want to shift in your life, you want to shift your whole life. If you feel stuck, if you feel that you are enmeshed in a relationship or a situation or a job or a career, and you don't know how to change it or get out. And maybe it's not always get out, maybe it's just shift it. So, let's be aware of that. In the scenario that I'm talking about with the old relationship, I had to get out. So the moment that I actually started to exit in my heart of that old relationship where I was playing codependent and the other person was playing narcissist, the moment that I started to shift it in my heart, even though it took some time, I started to I stopped the damage. Now I had to rebuild, and that's a thing. But at least I wasn't continuing to be damaged even while I was exiting. So that's a bit of a recap of the previous three videos. But now here we are, and I really have shifted a lot in that year where I got the message from Spirit that you have to have a growth mindset. So then I have these losses in October, late October, early November, and let's flash forward to a month ago, and that was February 15th. Well, I guess it's about 5 weeks ago. Spoiler alert, it's actually the day she was hatched, and I didn't know that. So on February 15th, which happens to be my husband's birthday, we were, we were going to go out for dinner for his birthday, but we had the day available. He was working, I was just doing whatever, and it was in my backyard, and I was in mourning. I was crying about my kitty, who I love so much. Meanwhile, because I had taught this program of astral mastery that included astral working and astral projection, I had healed. My grieving process had been expedited. I don't know. It's not expedition. Expedition isn't the most important thing. But it had just been such a beautiful process, as painful as it is to go through loss, because I knew how to experience him in his astral body. I not just knew how, I was experiencing him so that, yes, those first few days after, not days, weeks after my sweet Barnabas had passed, I could receive him in his astral body. And it was everything except for, it was almost physical. That's what I'll just say. It's so proximate to physical. It's not, but it is so proximate to physical that, especially those first days, I would cry and I would ache because it was everything that I wanted. And yet there's also this, cognitive awareness but he isn't here physically, but it's everything. And I'm so being able to hold the paradox of that by having him in his astral body, I was able to become functional. And I was able to, honestly, when you have grief over one thing, you have grief over all of the things that hasn't been quite processed in your energy yet. So he died October 28th. Then Yael, my bird, died November 1st. And I'm like, how much more of this? So I just held the space of myself that, I must be here for it. I must be. My soul is allowing me to be here. So it must be for me. So again, there you go, right there, just a little bit of a shift. And the other thing as how you can change your life. So I am in the part of my story now. I was in desperate loss. I love Barnabas so much. He is like the best person in the world that I've ever met. He is the most amazing guardian and guide and just beloved. And my husband feels the same. And so to be able to have the experience that I can have my relationship with him, I can experience our love, that was rapidly changing my life and my situation. So that by the time I got to February 15th, my husband's birthday, and by the way, birthdays, death anniversaries, there are they seem to align with a portal. They create portals when something significant is happening. So February 15th is a significant portal for my family. It's my husband's birthday. It's also the birthday of one of my dearest friends. We've been friends since we were 14 years old. And so February 15th, and I was still feeling this heaviness. I was in grief over Barnabas and Yael. the bird. But there was more. And I was like, I can just feel, I was doing an ascension seat a transformation, and that an ascension seat is, well, what it sounds like. It's in the non-physical. It's in the universal non-physical energies, and there's many different levels and many different kinds of seats that you can sit upon in energy and allow yourself to ascend rapidly. So in my ascension seat experience, I recognized that while there was this old paradigm that was a business and, the old relationship that had formed a part of my business, that I hadn't actually let it go. I hadn't really released all of it. And essentially, it was like I was carrying around a dead body or a dying body. And that's what my business was to me. So what I did was, in my backyard, I opened up the morphogenetic fields, which are the energetic fields that are, again, so proximate. It's a working in the astral, but it's so proximate and so enmeshed with physical that it does impact you genetically. Even that's why the word genetic is in it. I opened it up, I moved into it, and I opened a grave and I buried my business in it. And I was like, I don't know how much of my business is going into it, my career, my business, my livelihood even. I don't know. I'm just letting it all go. Because I know that if anything is meant for me, it's going to come back or it's going to stay. And so that's where I was. I was in the complete release. So again, here's another, I'm telling you, a couple of secrets. Form the belief that you can change, that you can shift, and that it can get better. So in feeling that it was time to release that business altogether, whatever that would look like, she's pretty good at just riding the waves, isn't she? Then, you know what I mean? Like knowing that it would come back to me. And I buried it, and I cried, and I cried. But, I didn't feel scared. I was so resolved in the same way I was when I knew it was time for Barnabas to pass. I was so resolved, but I was allowing the mourning to happen. And then as I'm completing my burial ceremony of my business, I actually didn't think about it. I mean, my Barnabas in his astral body walked over to me, my sweet little black kitty. He's the most beautiful, beautiful being that I've ever met. And he started to sit in my lap the same way he did when I met him at the shelter for the first time. So he's sitting in my lap, and I can see him and I can feel him, and I'm just, letting him love me and loving him. And then I remembered, oh my gosh, his grave is right there, because we actually buried him in our backyard. We took him home and we buried him in our backyard. And the grave was right there, probably about 6 feet away, and it was in a planter, so it was raised. So I couldn't see into it, but we had just had a lot of rain. I'm in Los Angeles, and, it rains in the winter. That's our winter. We had a lot of rain. And I went over and I was like, well, I'll go spend some time at the grave. And when I went over there, I saw that the grave had actually imploded. It was like caved in. And you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, did you see him? No, I couldn't see him, but it was open. You know what I mean? Like it was like, basically it kind of looked like an eclipse. A part of it was open. A crescent of it was open. And you could see like pretty far down into that. So anyway, I was like, oh, great. So now I have to rebury my cat. Okay, that's fine. That's what's happening today. Now, the other thing is Barnabas, like I said, he passed on October. You kissing me? Barnabas passed on October 28th. My bird Yael passed on November 1st. We buried Barnabas on October 28th. And I put Yael, I packaged her in a little bag, and I put her in my freezer because I was like, I'm not ready to have another ceremony yet. I'll find the motivation to do that when I do. Well, here we are. The grave is open, and it's a family grave. So I was like, well, this is the perfect time now to bury Yael, my bird. So I go get my husband, and we have a prayer and a cry, and I put Yael in there. And my husband, gets more dirt and packs it down real good. It was because of the rains, and there's like a drainage pipe. It was just, the soil was loose, even though it had been a few months. So, yes, I stand like, I don't know if you can see, I stand like a flamingo sometimes, popping my leg up. Anyway, so we we bury it, and, that's the end of my ceremony that day. Well, I had been considering, I have a bird who survived Yael, and his name is Anu, and he is a similar bird to Aliel. And he's a very chill parakeet variety, just like you can see that she is. And we had been talking all this time, Anu and I, like, do you want another partner? Do you want another companion? Another bird, I mean. And he was just kind of like, not right now, let's just work on us. And Anu is not actually hand-tamed. And it's hard for a bird when he's adult for them to become hand-tamed unless they have a model. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm telling you about another major shift, because November and December, I'm in so much pain, and I actually got really sick in December twice because the immune system can get, compromised when you're in grief. And even though Anu, by the way, I'm an animal communicator in case you don't know me, and I teach animal communication. We're starting the new course. I should tell you this right now. We're starting the course, Animal Communication and Energy Healing. It's starting on Sunday. So if you go to the description, you'll see, do you want to go deeper? Click the link in bio link. It's the link that's just right under the description. You'll find the animal communication course there. There are payment plans. It's amazing. If you love animals and you want to have fun and you want to have your mind blown and you want to communicate telepathically with animals and experience energy healing with animals, then, join us. You can still join us. And even if you're hearing this after, the time that it starts, which is on Sunday, you could jump into the live course still. And also, if you're listening at some other time, that course is going to be available in some form or another. So there's that. Anyway, so I'm telepathically talking to my bird, Anu. Are you ready for a new partner? And he's just like, let's just work on our relationship. So our relationship amounts to us having those communications, telepathic, and I sing to him and I talk to him and he sits really close to me. It's just everything except for touching physically, which is interesting because that's what I said about Barnabas and his astral body. It's everything except for physical touch. I was looking, though, even though he was indicating it's not time, and I don't even know if I want another partner, is really what the message I was getting from him. You like this? Is that pretty? Yeah, it's a little Herkimer diamond crystal. She said, that's pretty. Then even though he was indicating it wasn't time, I thought, well, I should just go look around and see if there's even any birds available. Maybe I'll feel drawn to the bird if I meet him. So I was going to pet stores and looking at online adoption postings for birds. And, his type of bird it's a different kind of parakeet. It's very calm. And the closest one besides his kind or her kind too, is an English budgie. And they're still not quite as calm. But this kind, they're called a bork. They're not that popular, so they're not easy to find. But anyway, I'm looking around in stores, and every bird that I meet, I am just, she's going to go potty. That's what they do. My heart is just raw because I'm still in my grief over Barnabas and Yael, and I lost a bird 16 years ago, and my heart, the grief from that was still with me, and so it's dusting up some of that grief. So I just looked around a little bit in November and December, and then I just put it aside, and I just thought, well, we'll just see. Well, on this past Sunday, which was March 23rd, I went in to go have my morning song and hang out time with Anu, and I felt really different, and actually kind of felt it for a couple of days, but it seems like it's getting time, like he's indicating it's time. But I didn't ask him directly. I was just feeling it, And then this day on Sunday, he was looking at me and they do this thing when they want to go somewhere, they kind of pace, and he's looking at my hand, and I could feel him because I'm mostly clairsentient, indicating he wanted to come over to my hand or my arm. And I was like, what's going on, bud? And he's like, I want to touch you like you've been suggesting, because in our telepathic conversations, I'm always giving him pictures of him hanging out with me like we're doing, like Aliel and I are doing. I'm giving him these pictures, and he's like, I want to do that, but I don't know how. You know what I mean? Like his primal instinct is not encoded to be able to do that. He's never done it before, and we're as close as like this close, but he doesn't know how to cross that threshold to actually touch without his body getting too scared. But he wanted to. And so what I know and what I've done before is like, well, if I get another bird who is hand-tamed, then it makes it easier for him to learn about it. Like he sees and feels the energy of it, and through that modeling, he can learn it. And that's what I've been telling him too. And so I asked him, is it time to get a partner? And he said, yes, it's time. So I was like, first of all, here's another shift. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ready. I'm not feeling all of this intense grief. I'm not afraid of the bond. I am in the sense every time I start fall in love with somebody, it's like intense. And so it's like, oh, am I going to do the right thing? But not to the point it was a few short months ago. And also I was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to find a bird for him. And I was like, well, maybe I can. And so there again, just the little bit of a shift in belief that this thing that seems impossible, maybe it can. Maybe again, it's like just expanding and trusting the universe, trusting spirit, not just putting it all on myself like I can't do it or it's too hard when we isolate ourselves. So I thought, well, maybe I can. And then because of that, here's the thing, signs follow your energy. People tend to think that signs are going to lead, but signs actually follow you already being in the frequency. So because I had made that shift to maybe I can find that right bird. Maybe that right bird is available. And then I heard Spirit clairaudiently say, check Craigslist. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. I'd forgotten about Craigslist. I hadn't checked Craigslist yet in this, and ever for a bird. I did. And I put in parakeet, even though this is a Bork parakeet. And the first two listings came up, and it said, one of them said Bork parakeet, and it had only been posted 40 minutes earlier. Now I was a little bit excited. So I texted and I emailed this person, and I didn't hear anything. So I was like, what do I do now? And Spirit's like, be patient. I was like, okay. So I taught that day. I taught in Sacred Sphere, which is our development community for intuition and manifestation development, developing your intuitive abilities. You can find that in the description too. And I went and I taught, and I thought about it a couple of times. I led a meditation where you actually tap into your intuition and ask a question. I was like, well, while we were doing that, I also asked, and Spirit's like, be patient. Just be patient. It'll reveal itself. I'm like, okay, good. So every time, here's again, I kept relaxing into it. So I'm giving you my tips as I go. The secrets as I go is that we want to form a belief that it's possible. If it is to get out of a seemingly impossible situation, form a belief that it's possible. This is a spiritual technology, a belief. And when you do it consciously, you are empowering yourself. You are becoming a spiritual master in that. Second of all, relax. And so that was the message I wanted to be like, should I get tense? And Spirit's like, be patient, which helped me to relax. Relax into the situation. So that I finished teaching. I went home. I had my lunch. And I was like, oh, I'm off for the rest of the day. I'm going to turn on Glee. And then I get a text. I had forgotten about it, a little, as you do a little bit, because I had relaxed so much. Yes, there's a bird available. And I was like, it's a Bork? Yes. Can I see a picture? And she said that the person she said she was hatched on February 14th. And I thought, well, that's cool. That's close to Brian's birthday. That's basically in the portal. That is in the portal, because a portal is not necessarily only one day, but they often happen to squarely align on one day. And, Valentine's Day, that's cool and everything. And so I was like, okay, be patient. And I was like, can I come get her today? She was an hour away. All these things. And I was like, this feels like it's working. It's staying patient, staying calm. So I went, and while I was meeting with her and she's showing me her, she's like, well, she was born on the 15th and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, was she born on the 15th or 14th? She goes, oh, I don't, And I was like, oh, well, I like the 15th. It's my husband's birthday. And she's like, okay, she was born on the 15th. Like I think she was trying to fudge it because she wanted it to sound cool because it was Valentine's Day. And she accidentally admitted to me that it was the 15th. So the day that I was burying my business, my husband's birthday, burying my bird who had passed in November, spending time with my cat, and also my friend's birthday. This huge portal, these significant events happening on February 15th, she was being hatched. And then she found me at just the right time. And I want to tell you, again, speaking to how things can shift, when I picked her up on Sunday, she was freaked out. Of course, she's a tiny bird. She doesn't know me. And now her life depends on me. She's so little, she can't eat on her own. I have to syringe feed her. So, she's not weaned yet. I was so nervous. And I was, I couldn't get her to eat because, like she's afraid of me. That was Sunday. Today is Friday. And look at us now. We've fallen in love, haven't we? Do we love each other too much now? But I had to keep relaxing into it. I mean, I woke up in the middle of the night on Sunday to go see if she was dead because I was, my parental panic was like worried that I, had killed her. That's okay. It's not perfect, but I just relaxed into it. She made it, So these two, I'm going to tell you, like these two shifts are to begin to believe that it can change. Even, and here's the thing, our mind tricks us into thinking, but it hasn't changed. Or what if it doesn't change? Just begin, pivot a little bit. Excuse me, I have to take a sip of water. Excuse me. That's what happens when you're live. You got to cough into the microphone. Begin to believe that it can change and then relax into it a bit. I have another story of how a major shift came into my life because, I have so many, but when I was, let's see, how long ago was this? It was 2011. And I had this old career, not even just my old career, my old career. In the old career, I was a bartender and bar manager. And I was so sick of it. And I had come to a point where I was complaining to a friend about this new job and the new people at this job. And I was like, you know what? I stopped myself, like, I've told this story like 1,000 times. It just happened to be a different name of a bar and a different name of some characters in it. I'm the constant here. So you know what? I'm going to stop complaining about it. I'm going to be okay with the fact that I'm ready for it to change. That's a weird place to be. I'm ready to move on, and I'm okay with that. It's like having senioritis at the end of high school. It's almost time, but I don't know when or how. Well, in high school, when or how, but I didn't know when or how it could change. And I thought, I'm going to relax. I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to focus on being kind. And because that helps me to relax, and it helps me to have a purpose while I'm there. And 2 months after I did that, I got this amazing new job offer. Amazing. Seriously took me out of poverty mindset like previously of my life, I didn't know it was possible. I started to shift just a little bit. Maybe it's possible. And maybe it's possible through something that's important to me, which is being kind. And next thing you know, and when I finally got the job, the salary they offered me, I was like blown away because I thought it was going to be about 1/3 of that, and that was going to blow my mind. So it was like 3 times the amount that was already blowing my mind. It shifted. It was one of these major transformations in my life. And it came from when I believed I was stuck in a situation. I just believed a little bit and relaxed and focused on something that I could master in my state, which is being kind. I can master that in my state. It's always energy first. So that is, now one last thing I will tell you is that as this is a video series, I said it was going to be 5 videos. It might only be 4. Maybe there's going to be a 5th one. At any rate, the first 3 videos, I was doing a tour of this relationship, again, where I was being one part of the bad equation and the other person was being another part of the bad equation. And what I was afraid of, here's another tip, is whatever you're most afraid of is the portal out. Back in, I'm kind of all over the place, but anyway, back in July of 24, 2-3 months before my cat died and my bird died, I remember confessing that my greatest fear was I couldn't take care of my animals. And I settled into that and just said, okay, that's okay. It's okay to have that fear. It's a sign of my integrity, but I need to be conscious. I need to be with it. You got to stretch? There you go. Isn't she so pretty with her blue? She showed it to you. You stretch again? Okay. You can do it. Let me give you a stable. Anyway, and then a few months later, I had to really confront that fear because I had 2 animals I couldn't save. It was their time. I had to really confront that fear. So my fear in this old relationship that was toxic, my fear was being verbally and emotionally attacked. And that was what was so hard to get out of it. I was also afraid that I couldn't do it. I couldn't exit the relationship and, basically remain profitable or just sustain myself because it was a business. Well, I had to do that anyway. You know what I mean? I had to exit it. I had to figure out how to, survive it financially. And also, I exited the relationship, and for a while I didn't talk about it because I was afraid still of being verbally and emotionally attacked. So anyway, over the last like couple of weeks since I went ahead and told my story, what's interesting is that I am not revealing this person's identity. I'm telling a story that could apply to several different situations of my life. I mean, whether you know about them or not, you know what I mean? And yeah, I was, there was an attempt to attack me, but it didn't even, I heard about it through the grapevine, and it didn't faze me. And I had forgotten about my fear of being attacked verbally and emotionally. And it happened, it didn't affect me. And I realized I can't be attacked because I don't receive the emotional assault or the verbal assault. I don't receive it. And that felt so good to just recognize. And also I didn't want to, I wish the other person well. I do. And I'm grateful for what we went through and what I'm sorry, and I have amends for what I did in my part. And I'm grateful because, oh my gosh, here I am now. As bad as things can get sometimes, you are that strong. And if you just form a belief that somehow, and the how isn't our business, right? Not right now, that you can shift things, that little bit of a pivot can impact a major transformation. A little bit of a pivot that it's possible to shift. It's possible to create something new or to get out of something old, whatever it might be. And then relax and focus on your state, how it helps you to be present and relaxed. And that's what Aliel and I did too, right? We focused on what we could do. What you got on your beak there? Oh, it's just more feather. She likes to give little kisses. So you're like, yeah. So that's what I have for you. Oh, eclipse. I said I would talk about the eclipse. So let me just tell you. Tomorrow is the eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse. All of this stuff has been going on for me in the eclipse month, in eclipse season. We had the lunar eclipse at the middle of the month. It was my birthday, by the way. Also, it was my birth month. And then oh hi, I'm going to say hi to all who is here. Nice to see you guys. So, the solar return brings up a lot of opportunity to shift things. And tomorrow we have the solar eclipse. So a solar eclipse, when there is a partial solar eclipse, the sun is our life force, our vitality, our support, our sustenance, our the father energy, the paternal energy, the validation. And so when it is partially occluded, which, by the way, in my area, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see any of it. Probably in the morning, the light will seem a little different. It doesn't matter. It's just when it's happening, we still sense it. You know what I mean? Our energy is still sensing it. And what that is about, it removes the seeming support from the universe or from life. It's not really gone, but it gives us a pause in that so that we can go within and find that inner strength and find a way that, of course, we are supported. Of course, we are strong. Of course, we are vital and we are here. So that's what we're doing. If you want to my suggestion is journal. Look at your beliefs. Look at your pain. Sit with it and tell yourself it's okay to feel the frustration or the sadness or the grief or the despair or loneliness, whatever it might be. It's okay to feel that because it's human and that you can move through it. When you just give yourself permission to feel it and then also say you can move through it, you actually become your own divine parent. And you are well. Now also maybe do some inner child work. You don't even have to be a big old journey for that. You can just bring up an image, whoever wants to show up, of a version of you, a little version of you, and talk to him or her or them. And just see what they need and tell them they're beautiful and they're doing a great job and they've done a great job and thank you and I got you. That's what I would suggest to do for this solar eclipse energy. There's going to be a post shadow too. Spirit is telling me right now that we'll feel the post shadow for, okay. At first they were like April 3rd. Then they showed me April 7th, and they showed me April 11th. So it's kind of like a fading off shadow. So like the denser shadow of it is maybe up to the 3rd, the lighter shadow up to the 7th, and then the trailing off finer, is what they're saying, shadow through the 11th. So make use of these energies. So now I'm going to say hi to who's here. And Lori's here. Hi. Look how sweet she is. Lori, met her the other day. Actually, Sunday, the day she came home, right? Was that when it was? No, it was Monday. Anyway, and you see, look how much we're in love now. She trusts me. We want to be together all the time. She hasn't learned to sit on my shoulder yet. That's what we'll be doing a lot of. So, hi, Javier. Nice to see you. Now, everyone, hi, Jody. Do you have to go potty? I have a tissue right here on. That's why, when I feel her shifting her position, sometimes that means she's going to go potty. That's a good step up. Hi, Jody. Thank you so much, Jody. Very sweet. Oh, so nice to see you. So I want to tell everyone we have 2 things. I want you to check in the description. There is the, actually got quite a few things. I've got animal communication and energy healing starting on Sunday. There are payment plans. It's going to be amazing. It's actually, right now, it's a small group, which I'm excited about. It's going to be the last time I'm teaching it fully live. There'll be other opportunities to add coaching and stuff like that to it. This is the last time I'm going to teach it fully live. That was a part of burying my business. I'm excited to do it. It's just, my shift is the new business is coming in May in a different way. I'm also doing the last fully live, full live classroom of an intuitive development program in my quantum resonance program. We started, you can jump in still. So if you go to the link to the description, you'll see this link. It says, want to go deeper, I think. Check in here. I mean, I'll let y'all do it. And it has all of those opportunities there. They're hot. They're right now. They're amazing. It's coaching. There's a course with it, but it's really coaching and it's transformation. All right. The other thing is I have these cool things that are these readings that you get. You don't have to show up for an appointment. You place your order, and then I channel it for you. And this one is the Intuitive Ability Assessment. And this is this one happens to be 15 pages, but sometimes they're longer. Sometimes they're a little shorter. It just depends on. So I give you I give you a report of your intuitive abilities, both from your, by looking into the crystal of your human design, and also my intuitive assessment and my intuitive reading of it and how to expand them even more. And it's really awesome. I also have an Archangel channeled message, and that one's really amazing. I just spent a lot of wonderful energy in someone else's energy, bringing through messages, and this person had Archangel Ariel and Archangel Uriel come through for them. So anyway, hi, Kathy. So nice to see you. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Tiffany. Hi. Hi, Jennifer. Who else is here? Oh, Carolyn's here too. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, I love you guys so much. So nice to see you. Do you guys love my birdie? Look how pretty she is. Oh, God, let's see if I can get her in the, yeah. Look, she's got a rosy color on her breast, and she's got like turquoise and like indigo. Yes. And then she's got this brown and gray coat, and we are in love. I think that's everything. Told you about the eclipse. Told you can shift anything. Told you it's not too late and you're not too stuck. It is time to do the grand shifts, and it is time for you to shine your light on our beautiful world. There is a thing that only you can do. Only you can do it. Oh, and you're so amazing. And thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be with you. I love you so much. Oh, one last thing. I'm shifting how I do sessions. There's only a little bit left time where I'm going to be doing sessions in the way that is available on my website. So hop in now if you want one of those. I love them, but it's just time to have something new. That's why I had my business burial. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so, so much for being here. Thanks for, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, anything you want to share, please put it in the description. And also join the mailing list. That's another thing that's toward the bottom of the description. There's like a gift of a higher self meditation or something like that that will help you to, that will allow you to actually join my newsletter as well. So that is how you can stay on top of things like any discounts or anything like that. But also click the bell to get notifications, obviously if you haven't subscribed yet, because sometimes like today I want to live spontaneously without even mailing my newsletter because I did it spontaneously. So that is what I have for you. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are. And so does Aliel.